everybody. Today is January 26th, 2024, and welcome to Outside the Box. Tonight, we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into government projects and operations. I want to start off by saying that everything that we discuss and that we show on this show is for educational purposes only. We advise you to use your own discernment and do your own research. And with that, we will get started. Here's look at Susie.
Do what?
I said, look at Susie.
Hey.
How was your day?
It was good. I got to go outside a little bit and pick up some sticks and,
Get out picking up sticks.
Yeah, I had cabin fever, man. Been, and with all the cold and the rain, stuck in the cabin, and needed to get outside, do something.
That's what I'm doing. I'm outside right now. It's not too bad.
Cool.
And then I had to put Putin in the house because he just has no self-control. He just couldn't control himself. He was just barking at anything.
Aw.
Yeah, that's all right. He'll be okay. But so we have an interesting show tonight. I think this will be fun.
Right?
So there was
all kinds of stuff to talk about, right?
Oh, I know. So I was doing some research and I found out that in 1953, there was a scientist, we'll call him Sidney. He was involved in a lot of the government projects with the drugs, the mind control projects. Now, supposedly he did these from 1953 to 1973, but I'm assuming somebody else took it over because we all know it still goes on. And MK Ultra happens to be one of the main things that they use. And it's horrible because they use drugs or they use torture or something to that effect to try to scramble your mind so that they can put stuff in it. So Susie and I have been researching other projects that they have and the operations that they use, and our government is just full of fun stuff, I guess. So where are we at, Susie? What are we going to start with?
I don't know. I mean, there's like so many different projects to talk about. I mean, I guess I could bring up the one, about the Project Pegasus, right?
Yes. Project Pegasus is a good one. I think that they use children mostly in that one, right?
That's what. So Andy Passaggio, who's an attorney in Washington today, Andy Passaggio ran for the presidency, I think back in 2016. He actually got on the ticket. He was going to reveal time travel, explain it to everybody what time travel was. He was going to, bring that out for the people to understand because his father worked in the government and was part of, different projects and stuff. Andy, I think, said that his dad had him in the project a couple of times, and this is really interesting because the really weird thing is he said that his dad actually looked at a picture of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address and saw Andy in the picture and knew that in the future Andy was going to be part of this project just because of that picture. You see, right? Isn't that crazy?
Well, if you look, there's a lot of pictures of people who are acting or singing nowadays that you go way back into photographs and you find them. Doppelgangers.
Or time travelers, right? Right.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah. It's So Andy, I spoke with Andy on the phone for about 3 hours, and a really interesting, conversation, because the reason I called him was because when I was in high school, I mean, in junior, or well, it was grade school, because it was like sixth grade. It's before junior high. And there was a project. I don't know what it was. It was just this organization that came to our schools in Ohio, and it was called the Pegasus testing. So what they came in and they sat with, they had us doing these tests all day, and it was like supposed to be hand and eye coordination to see how fast, you could see something and then, move it or whatever, and just different tests that they were giving us. And so they tested everybody. I think it was like in sixth grade or something, and then apparently they went to all the schools in Ohio. So any of these kids, and I'm saying this was back in, 70, it would have been back in let's see, probably 72 or something like that, maybe 1972. Because I'm thinking I was about 12, right? Because I was born in 60. So, right. So I think it was like, it had to be about 1972 or 73, maybe, the year. So any kid that was, like, anybody who was a kid in the 70s that's from Ohio probably most likely remembers taking this test from these, they came in and did these tests, right? So there's probably tons of people that know what I'm talking about, right? So, but they came back about 6 weeks later, and this woman walked up to me at my desk, and we were in a classroom, and she said to me, I just wanted you to know that you tested higher than anybody in the whole state. And so whatever that meant. Well, I started daydreaming in the classroom, and I was daydreaming about a horse, Pegasus horse, coming to pick me up and fly me from, place to place. Like I imagined this horse would come, I'd get on this horse, and I'd fly and go to different places. So I just kept daydreaming all the time in this one class. This one class was in, I don't know, it was really weird. But then I just remember some lady would come, and she would park in the parking lot, and then, like, I just remember her coming to the classroom. But, my question was I part of this 42 kids that were used to time travel? Was this lady coming to pick me up to take me to these things? Was I part of this group? I don't know, because thing of it is, they have the technology and the ability to erase your memory, or to, they can hypnotize you and say you don't remember any of this or whatever.
Right.
So whatever their method is, whatever they were doing, but they apparently, and Obama was part of this project also when he was a kid, but he went under the name of Barry, is what right. Andy said. Now, they like to use children because children are agile. Okay, so when let's say you open up a portal and you're jumping through a portal to go to another place, they want somebody that's agile and athletic or whatever and quick, right? So that's why they would test you to see if you have good hand and eye coordination, so that you could be, a good candidate, like an athlete, to be used in this project, Andy said the purpose of it was the government was working on this project because they were looking for a safe way, a jump room where, like, certain people, presidents and families, could leave the White House immediately through a portal and go to another city or something and be safe. So they needed to test it with these kids as kind of guinea pigs,
I think there was other notorious things in that, but
yeah, that
they
was
say
just
what they say,
That's what they tell the kids anyway, right?
Right. You can ride this horsey and you can go anywhere you want to go. Just imagine it.
Yeah, we're going to go to Florida today, and then you're going to go there, and then you'll come back, you know.
Yeah.
We'll have you back for lunch at school, you know, you get to go, you know. Right.
What kid wouldn't go for that? You get
Right.
a bag of popcorn when you get back.
I know. So, but with me, it was kind of weird because my mom was married to her third husband at the time. We had a really nice home there in Akron, and she had a beautiful English Tudor home we lived in, and he had his own business. My mom owned an art gallery. My dad owned a tire shop. We were pretty well established in the community, and so it was pretty good, you know, pretty good area. It was a real nice place to live, and but for some reason, my mom was having some trouble with her dad. They were having some disagreements, and she got mad one day, and she just put me and my brother on an airplane, and we ended up in the Virgin Islands. And she just decided she was mad, and she didn't want my grandfather to be visiting us. And it wasn't anything that he did. It was the fact that she found out that her, what she thought was her mom was not really her mom, that her real mom had abandoned her when she was a baby, and my grandfather never told her the story. So she was angry at him because she felt like he lied to her, but he only did it to protect her. And then,
right.
You know, but you know, she got all butthurt about it, you know, and she just decided just to freaking take us to the Virgin Islands over that stupid stuff, you know.
Well, I mean, the good thing about that is that would have pulled you out of that program.
Yeah, that was the weird. Yeah, how weird was that, right?
Yeah.
So we were in the Virgin Islands. I think we were there for 7 months. I missed 7th grade, I believe. Pretty much missed 7th grade, and came back. And then I moved to another city because I ended up moving in with my dad after that. So life just completely switched around on me really quick. Now, what happened to me when I was about 18 is which really made me wonder what the hell was going on. Was I was at some friend's house, and I had walked into their daughter's room. Her name was Michelle. I walked in this girl's room, and the minute I walked in, I looked out a window, and when I looked out the window, it was in Jacksonville, Florida. It started snowing out the window, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, it's summertime. Why is it snowing? And I said, that doesn't even make sense, you know. And then, I mean, it started snowing, and then all of a sudden, it was like spring, and then all of a sudden, it's like summer and then fall, and it's like I'm watching the seasons going really rapid out the window, and it just like like a, you know, like if you take a book and you go like
right.
that. And that's what I was seeing. I was seeing winter, summer, spring, and fall. Just really, like, if you ever saw that movie Time Machine, where he's sitting on the machine and he turns the dial, and then everything around him just starts going faster and faster as he's moving through time.
Right.
And that's what was happening while I was in this room. Is I watching time just going really rapid outside the window while I'm in this room. Well, all of a sudden, I seen all this time go by, and all of a sudden I look around, and I'm not in that room anymore. I'm actually in my sister's room back in Ohio. So I went from Jacksonville, Florida to, actually it was, I believe, Aurora, Ohio is where I end up. And I'm in my sister's bedroom, and it's everything on the walls is her stuff. And I'm thinking, how the hell did I get in my sister's bedroom? Like, you know, what is going on? I mean, I'm seeing the seasons going by. I see the rooms changed. I'm somewhere else, you know, and I'm looking around, and I'm just in shock. I'm just like, how did I get here? You know, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm back. I'm back. And I'm like, okay, that was just too weird. So I leave the room. I go back out to the living room, see my friends and I ask them, did anything weird just happen? Like, I'm wondering if they saw something outside or something,
Right.
anybody else had experienced something. And they're like, no, nothing weird. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't want to say nothing because I didn't want anybody to think I was crazy because that,
Right.
18 years old, I didn't know what the hell that was or
I
why.
kind of wonder if either somebody said a word or when you went into that little girl's room, you seen something that threw you into that project, that part of your mind. Like how they say these super soldiers, they call them and they tell them a word or they text them something, they automatically go into what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So, I mean, something had to throw you into that.
I've wondered about that for a long time because it didn't seem like anything. I just walked in there by myself and
I mean,
it just
think about it. You were a kid. They could have turned around and used something for programming like, look at this doll or look at this picture or, look at this tree. And when you
right?
looked out that window, it kind of was the same
Yeah.
trees activated your
Well,
time travel.
that's true. Like looking in a mirror sometimes or looking in a glass or something,
Right.
Like
Right.
there's a project Looking Glass, there's different projects, that the government has labeled. Um, so Project Pegasus is one of the projects that they were doing. Now, a lot of people weren't unaware of Project Pegasus, and what they were doing with these children, Andy
Right.
Passaggio still talks about it. Um, he's done some videos on it. I would recommend anybody wanting to learn more about it would look up those videos and watch, what Andy has to say about it. His
Right.
father worked in the government, so he has firsthand knowledge of it. And he has a photograph of him there with Abraham Lincoln at the Gettysburg Address. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's pretty telling, that he was there,
Right.
right?
And it's like with you, it's hard to say whether you went forward or backwards.
Right? Yeah, because I actually, it's like, yeah, that was just a weird experience. Now I don't have any memories. Like if the memories are there, I haven't accessed them. They're maybe locked up, somewhere in my mind.
Yep.
But I haven't been able to unlock them yet.
And like I said, I have a lot. I don't remember anything from below 5. And then I have missing spots in elementary school, some middle school, a little bit here and there in high school. So it's really weird. Some of the things that I dream and I sit there and I say, well, I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know, so I'm trying to say that possibly my memories are trying to snap back, but I don't know the approach to take with them.
Right.
If they're coming in a dream, I don't know how to go forward in there. I can change a dream. I've done that. That's
Yeah.
kind of weird, but I don't know how to wrestle that up when I have a dream to say, okay, well, I'm going to stay right here and I'm going to find out what happened here. And I just don't know how to do that. I think somebody told me meditation, a lot of meditation, good, clean meditation would help.
Right.
So,
Yeah, meditation is the same, when you say prayer or meditation,
yeah,
it means the same thing. It means you're taking quiet time and you're asking God to guide you and help you and to get your answers or to get to what you're trying to accomplish,
And
So,
a lot of it is like right now, my living situation, I'm in one big room. I'm in the living room part of the house. It's so hard for me to meditate with two dogs and a cat that when the house is quiet, that's when they want to come and get attention. And I could be sitting there starting to relax, close my eyes, do my breathing, and here one comes. And my little one, he will stand on my chest and lick my face and bite my end of my nose and step on my face because he wants attention. So it's so hard. And then by the time everybody else decides to go to sleep, well, I'm done. I'm sleeping. I'm finished. So it's hard for me to lock myself up in some place. I thought about one day just drawing a nice hot bubble bath and locking everybody out of the bathroom and just relaxing in the bathroom,
yeah.
candles and but then I thought, well, shoot, I got to make sure I'm not in a deep tub because I might slip into sleep and go into the water, drown myself.
Just have it shallow enough, that you won't do that.
Right. And it's like, no, we don't want to do that. So I do.
You could set you an alarm or something if you think you're going to fall asleep.
Yeah. And outside, because I enjoy my gazebo and my deck and everything, and I thought, I could come out here and just relax in silence. Yeah, that doesn't work either, because if it's not the squirrels or the cats in the neighborhood fighting or the traffic driving by, that doesn't work either.
So. I find when I'm out on the ranch, I'm out there picking up sticks, working, and I'm away from everything, and I'm just doing something, focusing on what I'm doing. My mind can think, and I can I can concentrate and think about things. Or when I'm driving my tractor, it's amazing. It's everything else is shut out, or if I'm on my horse, riding my horse,
Yeah.
it's that time on the farm when you're out there and you can just kind of connect to God, and you can just think, and you can focus, and you can
Yeah.
think about something.
I used to have a place where when I was around horses and I could ride and go down to like this stream and get off the horse and just sit there. And the horse be standing next to me and the stream be going. It was so relaxing and so calming.
Right.
And I really miss that stuff. I used to do the same when I used to go fishing. I'd go down to a fishing hole and sit there and fish, and I would put a bobber on the end of on my line because I would sit or I'd read a book or something, and I would just sit there in peace and quiet. I wouldn't pay attention to my pole, but I'd watch that bobber. If that bobber popped, I knew I had something on the line. But it was so relaxing. So
See, it's
calm.
like it's you're away from everything and you're out there, and so your mind is not focusing on everyday stuff, right? You're not looking at your house that you got to go clean it or something like that, but you're actually, it kind of clears your head. You're that's a place where your head can get kind of clear and you can kind of think about things. So
I know that I used to when I used to live out in the country, and I lived in this park out there, and it was really quiet at night. And I had a big porch, and I used to sit out there and just listen. I would sit out there and listen to the nighttime wildlife, the coyotes howling in the background, different stuff like that. And it was so nice. I live in the middle of the city right now, and it really irritates me. It does. I don't get a lot of pleasure out here because I don't get a lot of peace and quiet.
right.
So it kind of dampers my meditation skills. I have a lot of skills that I need to sharpen. but it's so hard with all the distractions that I have now. So, but
No,
do, do I know if I was ever put through any kind of projects? I don't know. I know I grew up around military bases and um, different things like that. So
but your background is your father was
my father, my uncle, my grandfather, they were all military. I was married to the military twice. Um,
okay.
I'm a military brat. I guess that's what they called them. You grow up military. But yeah, and there's been things in my past that have happened, and but the memory loss, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
But now,
I
what did your father do in the military?
um he did quite a bit. And he worked at Area 51.
He,
Uh,
well, there you go.
right.
There's a project. Project.
It's a project. It's a project, all right.
Right.
And I would go with him. I've
So you
seen
went to Area 51?
I've seen things. I remember certain things. You know what cracks me up with the mind? Sometimes bad things you always remember, but anything that's good is what you kind of forget. So I find myself asking God to just let me remember the good,
Yeah.
because I have to override some of the bad.
Now, how old were you when you went to Area 51?
Oh, good God. Uh, 7, 8,
What year was that?
10. Well, let's see. 74,
Oh, about the same time I was going through the Pegasus crossing.
73, 74.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it,
Now, all you remember is you had to go through security, right? You had to go through security to
yes.
get there. And what was that? What did that entail?
Well, you weren't allowed to drive there.
Okay.
Most of the time you were taken on plane, and then on a bus. Um, as far as security was concerned, I was a kid, so they didn't really mess too much with me. People that you didn't go there if you didn't work there, put it that way.
Right?
If it so everybody that was there to work was already entrusted. So you were already always under scrutiny. Always.
Did you hear him talking about aliens or UFOs while you were there? Do
I
you
never
remember?
really paid attention when they were talking. I was always told to go off and play or go with somebody over here, or now there was times that I was stuck to him, my dad, like glue, because I would go into places and see things that probably no child should ever really see. But it expanded my mind to know that,
What kind of things did you see?
oh my God, people that were not human,
What did they look like?
reptilians.
Were they tall? Were they
Yes.
short?
Yes. No, they were tall. And then again, like I said, and they smell. They smell bad. They smell so bad. Now,
And they were just like interacting with the human, with the
yes, they
personnel and
were
stuff.
they were they were with armed people, so I took it that they weren't all that great, you know. And I was told to stay back. But what that did was that opened up one day. I was in the grocery store with my mom, and I was probably about 7, 8 years old, and there was somebody behind us, and I got that smell that I had already smelled, and I knew what it was. And I turned around, and I just looked at this guy that was there, And to me, he was relatively tall, but I was 7, so I wasn't a very big kid. See, even today, I'm only 5 foot, so But I kept looking at him because he just smelled like one of those things, but he looked like a person. And then he looked at me, stared at me for a few minutes, and it's like his face started to change. It was a brown, green, scaly, his eye. And then I kind of stood back, and he put it back.
Was it like a hologram that was fading away that you saw?
Yes, I would say, yeah. I wouldn't have said that when I was a kid because I wouldn't have known what a hologram was. But today, as an adult, I can tell you, yeah, it was kind of like a hologram. But it went back, and he smiled at me. And I went around my mother, and I was like, we got to go. We got to go. And my mom was like, why? What is wrong with you? And I said, that guy's not human. Now, my mother hated that. Okay. Mind you, my mother hated that. From the time I was 5 years old, when I very first started seeing spirits and hearing them and communicating with them, talking, my mother was always like, don't talk about that. She did not like it at all. Okay.
Right.
So that was one of those things. Wait till I get you home. You're in trouble. Don't talk about people like that.
Don't talk about stuff like that in public. Yeah. People think you're crazy.
Right.
My mom used to tell me that when I was in a restaurant with her one day, and she's like, I'm talking about Jesus and talking about God, And she says, Shh, you need to be quiet. And I go, why? She goes, aren't you afraid people are going to hear you talking about God? I said, I hope they hear me.
Right. Exactly. Hi, Robin. She's been watching dog. Wait. Let me do this. She says, hi, girls. She's been watching Dogman things. That's an interesting character right there, Dogman. Yeah. Long Island.
Another weird creature thing, So that's so interesting that that you went to Area 51, your dad worked there, that you remember seeing them interacting, and they were just working normal side by side with the humans, right?
There was, in the room that I was in, there was only 2 of them.
Okay.
And they were guarded. Like I said, I was told to stay back away from them. Don't.
Did you mean the military guys had guns with them there?
Yes.
Okay. They seem concerned, like they should be afraid of them?
No, okay. It was like an everyday thing to them. It seemed like. I mean, I think that my dad was afraid they were going to grab me, but because he was like, stay back. I just want you to stay back here. And I don't even remember why we were even in there. Cause like I said, I was little.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But yeah, growing up, and it's funny because now when I go to a grocery store, I'm somewhere in public. If I pass by somebody that smells like that, I will turn around and look, and they'll be looking at me. It's like they know. They have read my mind, and they know I know who they are. And I think to myself sometimes, is that dangerous? Just turn around, turn your head, keep going about your business and do what you're doing. Just,
Right.
So I haven't figured it out yet. If they are dangerous and they're walking around just freely, how easy it would be for them to grab somebody. I never go, and well, of course, in my condition now, I never go anywhere by myself. So it's not like I would disappear and anybody wouldn't know. I'm always armed, always. I don't care where I go. I am armed. I don't give a shit if the sign says you cannot carry here.
That's your police training, huh, Brenda?
Yeah. And I mean, I carry. I have a gun that sits by my bedside. I have one in the bag of my wheelchair. I have one in my purse, it's there.
Right.
Yeah, Robin, you're right. They don't want to draw attention. But like I said, I think because I can smell them, they know when I look at them that I know who they are. and it used to be frightening when I was growing up, but now not so much. Now it's like, you get used to things. It's the same way with, me being a medium. I shut down a lot of my abilities after my grandmother died. So, because I used to be able to do lots of things. My grandmother told me that when I was younger, she would set a cup on the table and just have me sit and concentrate on it. And I would move that cup. That was something we were working on before I ended up getting
Sounds like
pregnant
the
with her.
Matrix, where they bend the spoon and like
Yeah.
up.
But the one thing that I could never turn off, ever, I could never turn it off, was the spirits. They come, they go. I like when they come to me in the middle of the night and I'm laying in my bed watching TV and they're like, am I dead? And my answer to them is, well, you just walked through that wall. You're in my bedroom. I'm seeing you. So I'm going to lean towards, yes, you are.
Unless they, left their body for a little while and they're visiting you,
Well,
after probably.
They better announce that, because if you ask me, I'm going to tell you you're dead. So, but now these projects that the government was involved in.
I was going to mention my friend that lives in Houston. He was with the Order of St. John and worked for the CIA, did stuff like that. And, we were talking the other night. He was sharing how when he went to these Illuminati parties and there would be all these reptilians there at these parties. And they didn't, they let their guard down, because they when they get drunk, they lose their, they can't hold their hologram or whatever he said.
Yes, they have to concentrate.
Yeah. So they get drunk and then they lose it. And he said they just smell nasty because they eat nasty stuff. They're just disgusting creatures. He calls them calls them chaos creatures, that they come from chaos, and they come in and out of our world, and they're just perverts and eat nasty, gross things, and they just have like no morals,
So they fit right in with the government. But did I say that? In my opinion.
How do we know they're not all just chaos creatures in the government? We don't,
right?
I mean, hey, all the videos that you see nowadays, you're like, hey, wait, that doesn't look like Biden. Why is his skin all wrinkled up, or he's pulling his neck out? And what are these, what are we really watching here? Like, the more you see this stuff, the more you begin to question what we're even looking at.
Right. Now, Robin just brought up a very good point, and I agree. And my mat outside says hello. It doesn't say welcome.
Oh.
Robin said that a scary little mention yesterday on Jessica Jones' show, which I don't know if you've ever watched her. I watched Jessica. I really like her. And it says not to have a welcome mat out in front of your door.
Shoot.
Way, because it's almost.
Point. I love that, because
it's almost the same as them. Right. It's almost the same as inviting in a vampire.
That's why I never say good morning. Because who the frick wants to start morning when you wake up? And who wants to have a very good one? Yeah. Like, what's like saying, hey, sucker, go ahead and cry all day.
Well, maybe that's something we need to dig into one day. Start looking up, when did good morning come into play in our language, Yeah,
that word morning is like the worst word to use.
Robin says,
if you're like trying to say, and then have a good one at it, like have a great one, like, wow.
Right. Now, see, that's what Robin says. Grand rising, not good morning.
There you go.
That's a good one, Robin. That's a good one. Yeah. I like that.
Or I just say howdy, or
yeah,
something like that.
I don't know how we ended up getting, because when
I don't like hello either, because you're like, hell
is low.
Well,
there you go.
I mean, are you gonna greet them with hell? Hello.
I'm telling you, man, these people have been involved in Satanism since we started to learn how to speak. because almost everything that you can say in the English language would have something to do with something bad. I mean, wow.
That's why you spell your words. That's why you learn how to spell when you're very young.
Robin would like to know if we would like to bring her on.
Of course.
You want to come on, Robin? I can go ahead and send you the link. Let me do that. So, but yeah, there's been so much. It's like, oh my goodness.
So Brenda,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up something. One of the things that I just learned about through reading James Files and Pamela's book, Pamela J. Files and James E. Files' book. They wrote the book about assassinating JFK. He did, because he worked for the mob. In that book, it talks about another project that I had never heard the name of this project, and it was Elvis Presley, a real DEA agent and part of Operation Fountain Pen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Operation Fountain Pen? I'm like, and here we're talking about the pen, because with the pen you write words, ink. Right. And then if you go back to the Gnostic teaching, it was an angel who came down named Pen, who taught man how to use the ink and write, how to spell. Wow. Yeah, you want to go back to the origin of who taught humans ink was Penel.
Wow.
Which you get the name Penny. Penny is, money, but you get
Penny is Penny.
Huh?
Penny is Penny. She's priceless.
Penny is she's priceless, right?
She is. She's priceless. Right. I love her.
Right. So, but yeah, that's Operation Fountain Pen. So, what was Operation Fountain Pen? That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
Of it before. Yeah. So, other than he was a DEA agent, he was, in working undercover,
Right.
So,
I think we all know about that one. Well, most people should know about that one. It's been public knowledge. Some people, I think, don't believe that. They thought his badge was fake or, whatnot. But that's not what all the research says at all.
I like this quote that I saw in the book. It said, once the government tells a lie, they have to live the lie. That's the problem,
I believe that's true.
They start the lie, they got to live it,
And in my opinion, it just seems to be their whole entire life that they're living. I mean, everything. But yeah, Robin says that we're hitting right up her alley with this stuff. So we're going to let Robin come on in, and Robin has a lot of information, and she looks at things in a different light. And she is very awake. She's been doing her own research for a few years, and she gets into it. So she knows a lot of interesting people also. And like Susie, I'm telling you, these two got so much in their minds, they would explode if they couldn't speak about it. So.
Now, here's another one. Here's something else that they wrote in their book. Files and them. They talked about the Vatican initiated Jesuits controlled operatives of the shadow government with special assassin groups like Operation Group 40 and Operation Condor. So Operation Group 40 got their name from Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves.
Wow.
That's where they took that name. Yeah. So yeah, what are they? Liars and thieves,
Yep. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves.
So they,
heard that referenced before, and I just can't remember where I heard it.
Another
God,
one they were involved in. He said he was in the jungles of Southeast Asia during Operation Mobile White Star. So it's like they have all these little code names, these little, you know. You have Project Montauk, the Montauk project. Now,
here's Robin.
Montauk, the Montauk.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. This is Susie, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
I'm going to turn off my TV.
Okay.
Hi, Robin.
I got too much electronics going here. About ready to take off like a rocket.
Right?
Yeah. So
we were talking about some of the government projects and different things with our government and, all the things they hide and have been hiding, in my opinion. I think they're stupid for it now, but,
Oh,
I mean,
you mean all the black projects that run the government?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're society now has come into the fact that we expect things. Nothing surprises us anymore. We have that little, 9% of our population that would freak out. But as far as anybody else is concerned,
Yeah,
we all know. We know, why hide it anymore? Stop it. Quit lying.
I was just thinking today, like I went to the grocery store and it's like, I don't know if it's California, but it's probably everywhere. 99% of the people have absolutely no idea what's going on. They just don't. Yeah. You have to, I don't know. I think a lot of people in this community think that there are more people that are more awake. No.
Well, like Susie says, we got people that are going to be stuck in this 3 dimension where their life just goes on and la-di-da,
Yep. That's okay. Like, to me, that's the contract that they agreed to this time around. And, everything I've done from the beginning has brought me right here to this moment, this last 3, 4, 5 years. And it's like, I'll be 65 in April. And it's like, I've done so many different things that didn't even seem like they were related, but they all are.
Makes a big circle.
They're all related to exactly what's going on right now. And the way you perceive things.
Yes. Now, Susie's done a lot of her ancestral past lives. And she has a very interesting story about who she used to be and a friend of hers that died twice protecting her.
Wow.
So, Susie, you want to tell Robin about that?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do remember Atlantis, being in Atlantis. And I remember Michael Aquino, who was head of the military now, was the high priest in Atlantis. And I remember Max Spears was actually my dad, and Sarah Adams, my mom, and she killed me when I was a baby. And I remember that. And then I was Joan of Arc, and then I was Sarah Bernhardt. So my friend Chet Swift, who was hired by the military, he was a Special Air Force. I met him. He was sent to protect me, he said, and he told me he died protecting me and my son. He took a bullet, and he told me 2 weeks before it happened, he said, I died protecting you when you were Joan of Arc. And he died 2 weeks later protecting me again. So, but he was, in 1976, he was sent to Cambodia by the government. He was an assassin. He had 132 confirmed kills for the government. And he was sent to kill Michael Aquino because Michael Aquino had gone rogue and was killing American soldiers, Cambodians, and Vietnamese. And he went up there and he said, I got poisoned, stabbed, and I failed my mission. And then And so he said his whole life he had felt like he failed that mission, and he never accomplished it. Now he turned in his report, and they made the movie Apocalypse Now about him, and then Marlon Brando playing the part of Michael Aquino. Michael Aquino at that time was under the Church of Anton LaVey, and then he started his own Temple of Set in San Francisco, and then he married Lilith Sinclair. And if you know anything about the Sinclair's castle and all that, and you know the history of that, he was of the tribe of the Campbell tribe. Aquino was head of the PSYOP department over the military. He was Colonel Michael Aquino. He was over the Presidio military base in California. And 75 children came forward and said that he had been ritually abusing them, raping them, killing children. And they all testified against him in court. And then the government tried him and let him go free and said it was a national security. Michael Aquino was off the hook. Michael Aquino was over a bunch of super soldiers, and that was a whole nother thing. The super soldiers were part of the government assassins that did things, you know, and worked under the Vatican, worked under, you know, so it's all connected to the Zionists. Yeah, it's all, everything is connected. There are no loose ends anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
So, but Michael Aquino was murdered in Australia in 2019 by a guy named Mitch and another satanically ritually abused person. They found him and murdered him. So now they don't say that Michael Aquino is dead. They just say his corporal body is being remastered or something like that, whatever that means. Okay. So, yeah.
So he's coming back.
So do you think maybe he is going
he's
to
Lucifer. He's Lucifer he was Satan in Atlantis, but he's Lucifer, known as Lucifer. And in the Bible it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Thou was perfect in all your ways, but the iniquity was found in you. You walked amongst the stones of fire." Now, the stones of fire were in Atlantis. Okay. He said, you walked amongst the stones of fire. He said, but iniquity was found in you. And he said, and because iniquity was found in you because of your corrupt trading, because Atlantis was the hub of the world. It was more advanced than anything even today. And, you know, like in Atlantis, everybody had the technology more than we have, you know, with the cell phones and video and stuff like that. But the rest of the world was still riding camels around, you know. But it said you became corrupt in all your trading, right? And but there was a flood that destroyed a lot of stuff, and that's why Atlantis fell. And part of the reason it fell, there was a deluge of flood, you know, that came. But it says that it says, Lucifer, you are just a man, and you will be cut down to the ground. So that's what people have to keep in mind. When we talk about Satan or Lucifer, we're talking about a human being, a man. Okay, we're talking about evil incarnate in a human being on this earth. And, you know, who is Satan? But Satan is somebody who has an army, has a whole, you know, right? He was a high priest. I believe that he was also King James, who wrote the Bible, changed the words. You know, who else would Satan be? But he would come as a religious leader. They thought he was a great guy in Atlantis. They didn't know who he was. Okay. He was the high priest.
Well, Lucifer does nothing but lie. I mean,
well, he's corrupt.
He's nothing but of lies. So,
yeah. Well, he thinks that he is so intelligent. If you studied Michael Aquino, you would realize he was very brilliant. The man was brilliant beyond words. I mean, the guy was just like, he wrote so many books. He wrote this one book called Mind Wars. And in it, he believed that you should fight your battles in the astral, not in the physical. Okay. So this is why he was involved in all these government projects like Montauk, Stargate program. He worked at the Cheyenne Mountain in the 70s. No, in the 90s. In the 90s, 95, 96, I think. He worked at Cheyenne Mountain with the Stargate program, where they were doing time travel and stuff like that. And There's testimony like Stuart Swerdlow, who Michael Aquino sent him back in time to try to kill Jesus. Okay. Failed that, sent him back in again to get the blood from the cross to try to clone Jesus so that they could use that in the future. Of course, Jesus, my theory and my study said Jesus never died on the cross. Jesus is an immortal. It was Judas Iscariot that died on the cross. So when they went back, they got the wrong blood. So they try to clone it. Now they just get a retard. And they made that movie Preacher.
With hands on his feet. With hands on his feet.
Yeah, that Preacher is really creepy.
Yeah.
That show.
Yeah, Preacher. And there's a guy
awful.
they cloned Jesus in there, and it's called Humperdoo, and he's a retard, because, they got the wrong blood,
Yeah, somebody was talking about that just the other day, that maybe there wasn't even a crucifixion. We don't know. Well,
there was. But see, Judas got instant karma for what he tried to do to Jesus. But Jesus is an immortal. He's still alive. He's still on the earth. And
so the show yesterday with Jessica was with Barry, and it was all about Jessica doing a remote view on Atlantis, you guys.
Oh, wow.
And it's 2 hours. So she just did it yesterday with him. And so he was on Monday, and then she always does a remote view show on Thursday nights.
Wow.
We got to get you, Susie, to where you can watch Jessica shows. You learn a lot of crazy stuff, but it's all tied in with what you and I study and believe and know. So it's really neat.
Yeah, we are living in some really bizarre times, I think, right now, with kind of all the things that are everything is boiling over everywhere.
You can feel it.
Right.
I can feel it. The animals can feel it. My animals have just been out of control for almost 2 weeks. I mean, just out of control. I'm not sleeping good. I'm up and down every couple of hours. Mm-hmm. I look outside and I look up, and it's like everything looks completely different. Mm-hmm. The air smells different to me. Now, that could be the chemicals they put in the air. I don't know, but it's not the same. The only time I feel any peace at all, is when the sun is shining and I'm standing right in it. Or no, I'm not standing anywhere, but I'm sitting right in it. And it's just beating down on me, and it makes me warm, and it feels good. That's the only time. The rest of the time, I worked third shift all my life. Nighttime was my time. And now it's like it doesn't even feel the same. There's something going on. Something's up, Susie. Something's up.
Something is up. In
the words of Bob Joyce, something's up.
I was going to say, they say there is about 900 people who are in the witness protection program that are going to come out and reveal themselves. And I think there's a big switch going on, a big change going on, a big reveal going on, a big disclosure going on.
Veils are falling everywhere. And all of that stuff that you see through the, now look, I've always said, you see something out of the corner of your eye, you look, it's not there. Okay. I've learned.
That happens to me all the time. There's always
I learned something.
In fact, I was just going out yesterday to my mailbox, and I had on I wear glasses, and then I don't wear glasses. I need them to see you guys.
Me too.
But so I have little strange gold orbs that go through my house, my garden. And so I was just going down the stairs to pick up my mail, and there's this little gold orb right here next to my glasses.
I've learned something with that. What I've learned something with that. What I do now is, if I'm doing something and I see something out of the corner of my eye, I do not turn my head. I kind of just glance over.
Yeah.
And what I see is incredible. It's almost like somebody tore a sheet down, and I'm looking at a different pasture. something bright and
Mhm.
beautiful.
You know, if you think we live in a world that's invisible and visible, and you think about God is an invisible. You can't see him, and we live in a world that's spiritual and physical. You know, it is said, you know, so you have the contrast between the invisible and the material world that we live in, that we see, and it's all connected. You know, and sometimes we see those things that have a little bit of, you know, like you see the orbs, or you see things, or you see angels, you see demons, you know, you see those things because they are part of our world. You know, we see that, you know.
Yep. Absolutely.
You were talking about your animals, and my cat has just been, she's my protector, but like even last night, twice, she just would stare off at nothing, but she sees something.
Yeah.
She does it all the time. And so it's just, she's doing it a lot more though now. I don't know.
Well, you know, I'm a medium and I see spirits. If my dogs see something, I see it. But lately, my dog, like my little one, he'll just like get up out of bed. He'll run because he sleeps up here on me. He will run down my body and just stand there and stare at the ceiling and bark, 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 bark. And I'm looking because if there's something there that he could see, I should be able to see it. So that has me a little concerned. Not really, because I know that animals are more in tune with the planet than actual humans are.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wish I had a horse because I would watch that horse with everything, because horses are the connect. They are connect, period. And like with me, I can hear them. I can hear what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to just be around a horse and just sit there with it and listen to what it has to say about this planet. I mean, just absolutely. But what my cat, she has been weird. Like I was on another show the other night and she just out of nowhere jumped up on my bed and attacked me while I was live. I mean, I was bleeding and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the show, she comes back 20 minutes later and she wants to cuddle with me and sleep with me and get pet. And she just, I don't even know what was her problem, but she flipped out. And she does that on occasions.
Huh.
But lately, it's been really, really bad.
You know, I
So,
was thinking, Brenda, about when I was in that situation in Jacksonville.
yeah.
You want me to tell that story?
Oh, yeah. I don't think Robin's heard about that, about the serial killers that had Susie. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Go ahead, Susie.
So, yeah, in 1979, I was living in Jacksonville, Florida, and me and my girlfriend were going to go. We lived in downtown with this family. I was going to take a bus. It was like 35 cents to take a bus to go across town to my mom's house. And we're waiting at the bus stop, and this car pulls up with these two guys, offers a ride, and I said, no, that's okay. And they were kind of creepy looking, you know. But my girlfriend, she's like, come on, to save her money, and she pulls me in the back seat. So it ends up being Otis Toole and Henry Lucas, two of the probably the most dangerous serial killers in the United States. They said they killed maybe 1,000 people. They worked for the Hands of Death cult under Michael Aquino, under the military, and it was the serial killers is, as we had a little thing we called the serial killers club. We would talk about, because the serial killers were all part of the satanic organization, and they would do the work, or they would kidnap children, or they would like Adam Walsh, John Walsh's son. He was kidnapped by these two people that tried to kill me, and they kidnapped him. And I think it was Dahmer that actually killed Adam. But they all were part of a military operation. They said they had joined the satanic organization in the Everglades in Florida, and They were working with presidents, politicians. They were working with everybody. Okay.
Mhm.
And, but these two gave me a ride and ended up taking me out to these woods along the St. Johns River. And Otis got out of the car. He was like 6'7". I'm only like 5 foot tall. So, he's like a monster compared to me. And we step out of the car and he says to me, hold on a second. He puts his head in the window talking to Lucas. And then I was going to pick up a rock and hit him upside the head and make a run for it. Cause I knew they were going to kill me because I'd seen too many movies and I knew, kind of what was going on. Pull on a dirt road out in the middle of nowhere and it's getting dark, right? So I was going to reach down and pick up a rock and just smash him upside the head with it, take off running. Well, just about that time I was going to do that, I heard this voice, and the voice said, "Trust me." And I'm looking around and I'm like, "Trust you? I can't even see you." So now I have this invisible God that I cannot see talking to me in an audible voice. And there's nobody out there in the woods but me and these murderers, And I'm like, you're thinking, how is an invisible voice or God gonna help me? He's not here. He's invisible, so I can't see him. And that's what I was thinking about. What we're talking about is things that are in the spiritual realm that you cannot see, but they're there.
Mhm.
So at that point, he says, "Trust me," and I'm like, "How can I trust you? I can't even see you." And then he turns around, he walks up to me and he says, "My friend's acting kind of weird. We're going to walk up here to the road by the street light. And then I'm going to get him out of the car and drive around and come get you." And then we start walking a few steps. And then he turns around, he says, "I'm going to rape you and I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to throw your body in the St. John Rivers when I get done. I'm going to take out all of life's frustrations out on you. Everything everybody's ever done to me, I'm going to take it out on you." Well, at that point, I look at him and I say, "Did anybody ever tell you that Jesus loves you?" And he says, "What? You mean to tell me I tell you I'm going to kill you and you tell me that Jesus loves me?" And I said, "Yes. Even if nobody else in this whole world didn't love you, he loves you." Well, I thought that was like going to do it at that point, but no, it didn't even work on this guy at all, right? Not going to work. We're talking serial killer here, okay? This guy was known for eating his victims when he got done with them. Like, he would kill them. Now, Lucas wouldn't eat them, but Toole liked to eat them. He was raised in a satanic family. His mom used to have him go out to the graveyards and dig them up and look at your dead bodies and stuff like that. So he enjoyed eating people. That was he was a cannibal. So, of course, I didn't know that at the time, but yeah, that was who Otis was. Otis was a little bit strange. So, anyway, he tried to grab me and I jumped away from him. He grabbed me by the ankle and I kicked off his hand off my ankle and I started to run. And I turned my head over my shoulder to see where he was. And he was like right there about to grab me. And right when he was about to grab me, he like hit an invisible God, like literally smashed his face, stopped him dead in his tracks. And I took off running, and so I couldn't see him. I could hear him, but he was a solid wall. He was very physical, but yet you couldn't see that. You couldn't see it with our eyes. There's things that we can't see in the spiritual realm, but they're there.
So that sounds to me like the shield came up from the armor of God over you.
Right?
Yes.
Like a shield.
Right.
Like a wall.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I kind of called it a glass wall because I didn't know how else to explain what was that he ran into, right?
yeah, I see a shield.
Right?
I see a silver shield with like a gold cross on it, protecting you from him.
Yep.
That's what I see.
And it's funny because at the time I was wearing a necklace with a cross on it, and as I ran away, there's an old man chopping wood, and him and his wife said, "Come here, we'll help you." My cross fell to the ground, and I picked the cross up, and I thought, had it not been for God, my life would have been taken today by Satan. But God said, "Oh, no, 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 no. You know, I have the last say here."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So,
I mean,
yeah, huh?
it's even like right now. I mean, I sit here and I think about a lot of the things that happen to me in life. Things that happen to me that I shouldn't be here right now. But I'm here for a reason.
Right.
I may have a little bit of that reason figured out, not all the way. It'll probably come with time. Maybe it's not time for me to exactly know,
Right.
but I'm obviously here for a reason. And you were spared because, well, Penny needs you.
Because God said so. You know, I was looking at it because God says so, and God is still God, no matter what devils think that they're God or can usurp God. God is still God, still sitting in the position of making that last decision. That's why I say when Michael Aquino sent Swerdlow back to get Jesus' blood, do you not think that God already knew that he was coming, you know, before
Right.
that ever happened? Yeah, yeah. He knew before it ever even happened. Yeah.
So some of the super soldiers have given their testimony, and they say the two words that any of these evil entities or whatever you want to call them, there's two words they don't want to hear: Jesus Christ. They don't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
So, and a lot of them use that. They don't have to be religious people, but that's what they say, in the name of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And they bug out. They don't like it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because Jesus Christ stands for the truth. And Satan is a liar, you know, a deceiver. So, you know, it's kind of contrary to their belief system, and, you know, so he stands for what is true, and they don't. They use deception and trickery and stuff like that, you know. So definitely, yep. You know, and you know, I just and some people say, well, that's not his real name. It's like it doesn't matter if it's not his name in Hebrew or Aramaic. You know, I'm going to tell you right now, Jesus knows if you speak English, when you say Jesus, he knows that you're talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. You know,
it's always your intention too.
He knows. I mean, he knows his name in English. He knows his name in Aramaic. He knows his name in Hebrew. He knows his name. He speaks all languages, right? So you can be Russian, use Russian. You know, he doesn't care.
Somebody said my name in a different language, I wouldn't even know. And where is that water coming from?
Right? Or, you know, it's like I'm telling you. I mean, but he knows. So you can call him whatever your language is, and it's the same person. He knows. Some people call him Yeshua. Some people call him Isa. Some people call him Jesus. You know, it's just some people call him Yahuwah. You know, it's the same person. You know, they don't have to get all religious technical about it. It's just, you know, keep it simple. Keep it simple, right?
So, Robin, what have you been getting into lately and researching? Anything?
Nothing. I haven't been researching very much stuff. I'm tuned into some of these podcasts. I usually don't come on screen.
Don't usually. Well, I'm glad you came on.
I'm in the chat. I'm in the chat, and my picture is up, and my name is up, and it's like, well, there I am. So, and I'm in a lot of
real night.
Yeah. So I like Jessica. I follow her, and there's a lot of stuff to watch, but you know.
Yeah.
So I like the things. I like the topics, like the Atlantis thing. I'm very interested in that. They did one on mer people, That was
Oh,
last week. Again, that was something similar. So I like that kind of stuff. I don't
Right?
know.
yeah.
Susie probably doesn't know all my background, but I've done work with dolphin research by land, nothing hands-on with dolphins, but did a lot of that for several years out of Del Mar.
That's
Help.
cool.
Yeah, and then I worked for the Wild Animal Park and did some rhino research studies out there too. And then I have a wolf experience too from another San Diego Zoo connection. So it's just always, and then my whole house is filled with big cats and little cats and cats everywhere. So I feel like I'm very drawn to like a Lyran connection.
You know what? I have always said that to me, I don't,
Lemuria Brenda, Lemuria was another continent that went underwater like Atlantis. So, a lot of
Mhm.
people have connections to Lemuria, some have to Atlantis, you know.
right.
So Lemuria was another
I-
continent that when the flood happened, it went underwater.
Yeah. See, now to me, cats, I have never, I think there's something more to them. Okay. I think that they are alien. I think that they're here in good to keep an eye on us because I've had cats all my life and some of them are just absolutely incredible. And the warnings that they give when things are going to happen and just their attunement with things. And sometimes when they sit and look at you, it's almost like they're just studying, trying to figure you out, trying to figure out what you're doing. To me, cats are totally different because
Yeah.
dogs, they're like, hey, it's mom. Cats just observe a
Yeah.
lot.
So my cat, I've had her. She'll be 15 this
Oh,
year.
wow.
Her name is Amor, but I call her my little ET.
Yeah.
That's what I call her. I know she's like a little ET, and I've heard this before. What you're saying, Brenda, same thing. I've heard it other times. They're from other dogs are like a different dimension. Cats are another dimension type of being. But I feel like they're here as protectors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They keep an eye on us. They're on a, I really look at cats like they're on a higher level, even than humans. They really are.
yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
say that your animals pick you.
That's true. That's what
Yeah.
they say.
I pulled mine when she was barely her eyes were open out of the claws of an owl.
That's right. You told
I
me that.
proceeded to beat this owl with my flashlight like, until it let go. And I had a hold of one of his paws. One of his claws, I did not let go. But I'm here to tell you, I do not ever advise that. It tore me up. But I got my cat.
Yeah.
And I brought her in the house and I bathed her and cleaned her up and mommied her and fed her and pottied her and everything. I was her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to take care of her until she got bigger and better. Then I was going to find her a home because where I was living at the time, my landlord hated cats and wouldn't let me have her. But I got attached to her and I thought, you know what? She's not going anywhere. She's staying here. I don't care what the manager says. I don't hear her. But yeah, she screamed for me and I heard.
Yeah.
So, yep, very interesting. I don't
So
mess
Brenda,
with owls anymore.
I was looking at this book we were talking about projects and stuff. I was looking at some of the files had explained. He said, this is what he wrote. He wrote, files explains for me that there are just the highlights and no means all the operations. And these are some operations and projects he was bringing up. He said, starting with Operation Mobile White Star, Operation Mongoose, right?
Yeah.
And that was gearing up for the Bay of Pigs at JFK assassination, and then Operation 40, and then the Phoenix program, and then the Vara, whatever that one was.
Hi, Deborah.
So those were just some of the, But he goes on to say that that I will say that most of my secrets will go with me to the grave, he said.
Yeah.
So these are just some of the ones that he mentioned. Some of the now he claims, or he says, not a claim. I mean, he states, James Files states that he was made in a laboratory in Mobile, Alabama, in an underground military base.
Yeah.
And that he was trained from birth. Okay, he doesn't know. He was made from 5 different sperms of different men. Okay, his mom said is 5 different men's sperms, and he was made. And then he was trained to be an assassin, and he was used by the mob. Worked under Charles Nicolotti. Charles Nicolotti was his boss, the Chicago mob area, and then he was used by them, and then the CIA would hire the mob to do the hits. So that's why he was hired to assassinate JFK, and he did the headshot, of course, and killed JFK. So
So
here's one thing I want to throw in there.
it was JFK.
Now, there is this conspiracy that JFK never was in that car that day, as well as 900 other people who are in the witness protection program.
Right.
Or maybe it was
And
a clone, maybe it was something else. So I mean, there's so many ways you can go with this story, right?
Now, the way I've heard it is this certain witness relocation program did not have anything to do with what most of them do. That it was a witness relocation program that was started by JFK and headed with Space Force. So it was not like your average. That's why a lot of these people went there, because it was different, and they were very well protected, and they went places all over the world to live. You know,
Oh, yeah. Or maybe not here, maybe somewhere else.
maybe they went, on the other side of the ice wall.
Yeah.
A lot of
Has-
them, they said they got plastic surgery, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit, a little
Yeah.
bit, maybe a nose here, or cheeks, or something, but
I mean,
not any.
different ones.
Yeah,
Elvis, I watched that interview with Elvis. He claims that they found a guy named Roscoe Holloway who looked a lot like Elvis, except he weighed like 250 pounds. Elvis weighed 170. So Chet told me that he had taken what he thought was maybe Elvis to get plastic surgery in Florida back when he was working for Nixon. Because my friend who died for me used to work for Nixon as security with Air Force One also. And he said he drove what he thought was Elvis to get plastic surgery. But it could have been this other guy, Roscoe, who looked just like Elvis because
and was terminally ill, right?
yeah, he was terminally ill. And then recently when this girl came forward and found out that her DNA matched Elvis's dad, Vernon, they dug up the body and found out that the guy that's in the grave is supposed to be Elvis's DNA doesn't match any other Presley's.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes everybody go, what the hell is really going on? What the hell?
That's
What the hell is going on?
Has Susie seen the interviews with James Files and his wife that Michael Jaco did last month?
I
I
don't know
met
that
with James and
Susie-
Pamela.
Yeah,
I
Susie's met with them, and Penny.
I spent the
the
day
one that
with them.
worked-
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause these
Penny
I
are
the
spent
one
the
that
day with
4
them
hours.
in Dallas. We went to Dallas, me and Penny, and then I went back on the anniversary of the assassination. I spent the day with them up there on the hill where he shot Kennedy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
It-
a
and,
4 hour. It's 4 hours.
Yep.
So
Well,
but
I
you've
know
already- you've
how-
already talked to him in person. Then you know.
How long was the interview that Penny did for the Dark Outpost? I mean, for the Awake Nation with James. How long was hers?
I think it was like an hour interview. We sat in a hotel room with them in their room and then did the interview. And then we spent the evening with them and we went to dinner with them. And I drove James to the restaurant. He rode in my truck with me. And I just had a lot of questions and talked to him about, about the event, what happened and little details and about his life, and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because he ended up he ended up having an encounter with Jesus in prison,
Right.
and several of them. And so, and then he ended up meeting Pamela, because what happened was there was a FBI agent that figured out that he was the shooter and went to visit him. And then they did the interviews, and that's how Pamela found the truth. And then she contacted James, and then they became friends. And then they ended up, he said, if I ever get out of prison, because he's in prison for 50 years, if I ever get out, would you marry me? And she's like, okay. She said, I didn't understand why God had me meeting him. But then she realized, he turned his life over to God,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really interesting story, the whole thing, how, and that's the other thing. Lucas, the guy that tried to, one of the serial killers, when he got captured, he had an encounter. Jesus showed up in the prison cell with him and told him to tell the truth about everybody he killed, explain where everybody's buried, because he said, I have to answer the prayers of the parents and the family members that want to know about their loved ones that were killed and where they're at. And so Lucas became a Christian for like 16 years of his life. One of the serial killers came out and, was a complete whistleblower and told the truth, everything that he was supposed to tell. So
I saw something on him last year, I think, or maybe a year and a half ago on Netflix. They did a thing on him, and where he took the law enforcement to the different burial sites.
Yes. Now, there were people in the government that were satanic, and they were trying to say that he was making up stuff and all that. But no, he wasn't. He sincerely was telling the truth because Jesus asked him to.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to discredit him and make it sound like he would do anything, because that's what the Netflix series tried to twist it around and say, he's only admitting to stuff for a milkshake. And that's what they wanted the audience and the public to think, that you couldn't believe it. But no, he said, no, I had an encounter with Jesus. God told me to get my house in order. I was, and to tell the truth. And that's what he did. And he actually, there's a phone conversation where he talks to Otis on the phone, and he tells Otis to tell the truth. Don't say you did something you didn't do. Just tell what you did do. And, let's just tell the truth, And so that's what they agreed to do. They agreed to just go ahead and tell the truth. Now, he said he was also part of the Guyana incident where Jim Jones took all those people out to Guyana and killed them. He said he actually went out there and brought the poison to help kill them. That was a CIA operation where they killed all those people out there.
Yeah.
So
Dirty.
I want to say hi to Andy.
Yeah. Hey, Andy.
Hey.
Kevin.
He was watching. He was doing Glenn's.
Podcast.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That
Yeah.
was on. That was just on.
The coin ones, yes.
Yeah.
That wreck I told you about earlier, Brenda.
Yeah.
Stand by for pictures.
Oh, I like pictures. Andy, I don't know if you know, Robin, what Andy does. He works for the volunteer fire department and stuff out there.
We had our conversation about the fire department.
Oh, yeah.
Because my dad worked for the fire department for 30 years here
oh, wow.
in San Diego. So yeah.
Yeah, it's you missed some stuff, Andy. We was talking about, the government projects and our little reptilian people. And if you're still on, Robin, when we get done, I'll tell you a little bit of something about these reptiles that I cannot put over the air, because
what I was going to do is I was going to message you earlier today and say, do you want to talk after your show? And then you guys started talking, and I said, can you guys put me on?
Yeah. I mean, we you are more than welcome anytime you want to. But yeah, I've been for the last few days digging into some of these projects and how they started. Like, they say it was 1953, but I do believe that it was before that.
Oh yeah.
And they started off using the drugs, and people were flipping out on these drugs and jumping out of windows, and then they I guess they ended up taking it a step further after this scientist that started this stuff with the drugs passed away. Then they started with the, locking people in boxes and doing the torture and all that stuff. So it was an interesting thing. We were hoping Penny would come on because she has a lot to do with the MK Ultra thing.
Yeah. Did you
but
ever
now
watch
next-
that? Did you watch that movie I sent you with Anson Mount called MK Ultra that was on Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
super good. I don't know if
Yeah.
Susie's seen that. You probably have with Anson
I don't
Mount.
know. Did I send it to you, Susie?
I may have seen it. I don't know.
Well,
Hey,
talking
hey.
about all those experiments and all the LSD that they gave these poor patients that were in the mental health, system, hospital,
Yep.
and all the experiments they've done on people like that. So, I was going to say that James Files.
Sounds like Stranger Things. Yeah.
Oh God! So, James Files had mentioned a program called Project White Star.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mobile. It says Operation Mobile White Star.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was looking into that when Michael Jaco had him on. So I looked up a whole bunch of stuff while they were talking for those 2 different interviews, and quite interesting. Because you've talked to him in person. So,
Yeah. Right. And when you were talking about that, remember, Brenda, we were talking about my friend Mark Jaco, who his uncle was they were part of the Montauk program, where he was the guy they put in the box to go back, and they made all the Twilight Zone shows from his
Yeah.
experiments.
Yeah.
And the first one they made in the Twilight Zone was Where Did Everybody Go? And he went so far into the future, there was nobody there, he said.
Imagine.
Huh?
Could you imagine waking up and there isn't a soul around and you're like, wow, wait a minute.
Right. That's just some crazy stuff. But did you have that little clip of the Twilight Zone, Brenda? Where did everybody go?
Did you, let's see, you had it on the thing, right? On
I think I
yours?
sent it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
With a little
I
trailer
think
of
that,
it.
we send so much stuff back and forth. All right, let me look for it. Let me look for it, because I also found some other stuff too. Like there was a book that was written called Drugs as Weapons Against Us. And
Right.
that has to do with, the mind control and all of that also. So they did
They use the drugs to help erase your memories and stuff like that too. Uh-huh.
yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
I want to do a show also one day, if we can do it without getting into any trouble, about CERN. So I have been thinking about that, and I've been looking into some of the stuff about that. All right, where is this video, Susie?
I don't know. Let me look and see if I can
See if you
locate
can find it faster than I can.
it. Okay.
But yeah, between that and I also want to do one on the cloning. I think that the cloning would be very interesting because it has been around way longer than Dolly. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah. The
And,
cloning thing, okay, so I have a good friend. Well, he's not a good friend, but I have a friend that I met at the horse futurity, at the cutting horse futurity, because I ride cutting horses. And we were at the futurity one year and met Darren Blanton. Darren Blanton has got a big ranch in the Dallas area, a very wealthy person. He bought a horse called Highbrow Cat, and then he had that horse cloned, and they called the clone Copycat.
I like that. That's
You
cute.
know.
Copycat.
And then that clone has had many babies, and then so cloning has been around, and they've been doing it with the animals, and they do it with the people. But it's just so hard for most of us to wrap our minds around the fact that they clone humans the way they
Right.
clone animals.
Well, and then a lot of the entertainers they've been coming out with it, like even some in songs, they like give you hints in these songs, but nobody it doesn't click. So they've been coming out a lot with a lot of that. And I had been going through a lot of videos, and then when I find one that looks good, like that one with the drugs and how they control everybody, that was another one that I wanted to throw into this, because the fact that it shows people that, you know, they're doing this to people, you know. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share this one while you look for the other one.
I found one. It's only a minute long. So let me, you want to send it to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
but let me share
Okay.
this
Send it to
one.
you on Messenger. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share this one real quick, and then we'll go back to that if I can figure myself out here. Still learning how to do some of this stuff. It's kind of new and pretty fun sometimes. All right, let me get that go. Oh, let me get that going.
The CIA was, in effect, acting as America's hidden Ministry of Culture.
While this document shows the CIA was working on the use of LSD and other drugs for unconventional warfare, evidence supports that the battlefield would include whoever opposed their racist pro-war agenda.
Flying in arms to our allies, flying back out with the heroin. The first target being U.S. GIs during the Vietnam War, the second target being the United States itself.
Infiltration of cocaine into the Black Panther Party, its leadership, Huey P. Newton being the main target.
The head of the DEA at the time, Robert Bonner, said that a ton of pure cocaine worth hundreds of millions of dollars had been smuggled into the United States. He blamed the CIA.
And we know the FBI had a 300-page file on Lennon. Much of it remains classified for national security reasons. The doorman at the Dakota that night was Jose Perdomo, a veteran of the CIA's botched Bay of Pigs invasion, a professional hitman.
I cannot think of a case in which I have had someone inject himself with a large amount of heroin and then proceed to kill himself. It just doesn't make sense.
We're speaking with Brother Tupac Shakur, who was the national chairman of the New African Panthers.
The Code of Thug Life is a revolutionary document. He began to broker the peace between these gangs.
Raised in the ghetto off League of Means.
So I found that one. I liked it. And I believe that is a book, because it says that you can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So, but they made a thing about it. And when I seen it, I thought it was pretty interesting. But okay, let me find this one that Susie sent now.
Right?
Okay, what the first one with the horse? What is that?
That's the copycat. That's the clone.
Oh, okay.
Pull
And then
that up,
the other.
and then you can, if you show the picture, then you can kind of read it, what it says. It's really interesting.
Oh, hang on here. Let me. I don't have my glasses on. I cannot read all that.
Put your glasses, girl.
They're in the house. Okay, let me do this video here.
Just
that
do it
you
like this,
sent.
Brenda. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Guys are making me laugh, and I'm getting cough if I have to laugh.
I'm gonna be squinting so hard that you guys will be able to look up my nose.
Ew.
Ew. Okay. Let me.
This is the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Where is everybody?
Ouch.
Somebody's looking at me. Please help me. Help me. Help me.
Clarkin.
Please, somebody help me. Somebody's looking at me. Somebody's watching me. Help me.
Get him out of there.
Help me.
Quick.
Help me. Help me.
Release the subject and the double. Detail.
Next time it won't be just a box and a hanger, will it?
No, Mike. Next time you'll really be alone.
Hey, don't go away up there. Next time it won't be a dream or a nightmare. Next time it'll be for real.
Huh.
So that was saying that the government was doing experiments and put them in a box and yeah.
So I just watched Michael Salla with Ryan Wood. Do you know who he is, Susie or Brenda? Ryan Wood. He did a book called Magic Eyes Only.
Okay.
I've heard of the book, but I don't know of him. But I have heard of that book.
He's been around for like 30, 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah, he's I have the link if you guys want me to send it to you through Facebook or whatever. And that was released a day ago. So Michael Salla talked to Ryan Wood, and Ryan Wood he's been interviewed before. And usually it's an hour and a half. So he's super knowledgeable, and he's kind of under the radar. Like, he came out a long time ago and now he's back out again. So another one is Leo Zugami. And I don't know if Susie knows about Leo Zugami.
I've actually heard of.
The name sounds familiar. Is he? What is he talking about?
So he's written 9 books on the Illuminati.
Okay, I probably read some of his stuff.
Yeah, amazing. And then he did like all of Hollywood.
Okay.
In his last book, I think he's writing the 9th book now. I bought the last one, and it's all about all of Hollywood and what we're talking about, MK Ultra and all that stuff. So he is like an encyclopedia, like Brad Olson, same thing. Brad Olson knows about that mission in California and all that stuff. So he's the one I heard 3 or 4 years ago through Brad Olson about that base up there in Northern California.
Wow.
Oh,
Because Brad used to live in Lake Tahoe area.
Okay.
Mount Shasta area. And then he got smart and bought like 7 acres over in Nevada by the Giants. The hills where the Giants are. So he got out of California. But anyway, he's traveled all over the world. He's another one that's written for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
So most of the ones I follow are the ones that have been in this, like James Gillian out of Assetti Ranch, 40 some years. Michael Salla, same thing. A lot of these guys, I just kind of follow the older guys.
Right?
Yeah.
They were in these there were a lot of them in these programs. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have written a lot of stuff, but again, it's not mainstream. I mean, it's in this community, everybody kind of knows who's who.
Right.
But, I have a big stack of reading to do. My library is packed. I don't even have one more section of my bookshelves, which is enormous, to even cram one more book in there.
I've bought quite a few lately, and the 2 that I'm mainly working on right now is one. I had met a guy on Penny's show one time named John Kerwin, and he wrote a book called the Conspiracy Theory Guide. Oh, I love it. It's great. Then I also bought that Travels of Baron Trump and the Last President. I haven't gotten too far into that one because I'm kind of trying to finish one before I start another. But it's after a while, my eyes get so bad. My diabetes was way out of control a while ago, and it really affected my eyesight. So I have reading glasses and I have regular ones, and I have to bop in between both until my eyes just say no more reading, put it down. So it's really hard for me to get through books because I can only read for a while. And it really sucks. I'm thinking about trying to find these books on audio so that I can just listen to them.
Yeah.
Probably be a lot easier that way.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the eye doctor, I always ask them if they have Seeing Eye Dogs on sale yet for me. Because I just my dogs would bang me into a wall, so that wouldn't work.
The Last President and Baron Trump are both audiobooks on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to go find those, and I can sit and listen to those.
You can just listen to them while you're doing whatever, during the day.
I'll do a lot of that. I'll turn on certain things that I don't have to look at, and I'll sit and listen to them while I'm doing dishes or, cooking breakfast or something. I just sit and listen to them. So,
yeah.
But we seem to have lost Andy. Andy, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you went dark, so.
I think it's the computer again.
I know. Now, we're going to get ready to wrap it up so we can all say our goodbyes. And now I want to let everybody know that starting next weekend, we're not going to be doing Tuesdays anymore. We're going to be doing Friday and Saturday nights. That way, if we have something that we don't finish, we can always finish it on Saturday.
Okay.
People are off of work and everything, and it's the weekend, so we thought maybe we'll just do Friday and Saturday nights, for now. And it's hard with Susie because she's got that ranch and she's got to feed off. Come feeding time at night, they'll be knocking on her door if she ain't out there to feed the cows and horses and her 20 dogs.
That's wonderful. I wish I had that problem.
I'm telling you, I am going to show up at Susie's house one day just to sit out there and get some hay in my hands and feed the cows and pet the horses. If they can get over my wheelchair, we'll be all right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
I don't have Susie's contact on Facebook, so if you want to send me a request or if you want me to send you something.
Yeah, Brenda, send her my information so that she can.
Okay, I can do that. That'll be good. Okay. Yeah, and then we can get her every once in a while. Send her one of Jessica's things so she can subscribe and watch Jessica's shows too. They're very informative. Yeah. I really do like Jessica.
Do you want me to send you the one from yesterday on the
Atlantis?
Yeah, Atlantis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you send it to me, I can send it to Susie, and then I'll get her information to you so that, it'll be easier that way.
Okay.
So, Susie, you've got Awake Nation next Friday?
Yeah. We'll show that real quick, the highbrow cat real quick. I can kind of read that a little bit, if you will.
The highbrow cat?
Yeah.
The copycat? The copycat.
If you show it, I can try to read it because I got my glasses on.
Yeah, I don't have mine on. All I see is a horse.
Okay. We're talking about glasses, right?
Yeah, I'm visually impaired.
And this was an article from 2015.
Okay, let me hunt it down. There it is.
Okay. It's under the Quarter Horse News. See the picture of the horse right there?
What a beautiful horse.
Right? So this is highbrow cat's clone. Okay?
Oh.
So his name is Copycat. So Copycat, the clone of highbrow cat, arguably one of the greatest Western performance sires of all time, at the age of 2 being compared to his famous originator, not only in looks, but in personality and potential as well. The handsome stallion bears a striking resemblance to the original, and the conformation to be envied, and a personality that for some who know both horses intimately say just like the original cat. Both share the same residence in Weatherford Equine Breeding Center in Weatherford, Texas, where they are managed under the guidance of Dr. Justin Rithaler. The cloning of highbrow cat made headlines around the world, while cloning of other high-profile animals have already happened, most notably the cutting horse Royal Blue Boon, a barrel racing standout, Scamper, and a bucking bull Bodacious. The cloning of highbrow cat certainly raised some eyebrows. Not only was he the sire of 57 million in money earners at the time, but had recently been announced as the great stallion was sterile. Copycat was part of a package deal struck both between Dallas businessman Darren Blanton of Colt Ventures and Jack Wagner, who sold the clone, not yet foaled with highbrow cat, for a reported $10 million. Foaled in July of 2013, Copycat was introduced to the world in December of that year during a tribute to highbrow cat and the National Cutting Horse Association futurity. All the while, the question of registering clones continued to be debated in the courtrooms of the case of Abraham and Van Glasson, yeah, joint venture versus American Quarter Horse Association. For Blanton, having a clone was neither a benefit nor a controversy. I think it would be good if we could register the babies, but we weren't really planning on it, Blanton told the Quarter Horse News. It's nothing but upside if it works. With the decision by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals to reverse the lower court decision that would have allowed the registration of clones, the probability of registered clones seems rather slim. The plaintiffs are asking for another hearing as of this writing. Yet Blanton remains enthusiastic about the future of Copycat. I have always said the best thing about Highbrow Cat is the fact that God gave him the gift of incredible DNA that produces perhaps the most consistent foal quality in the sport of cutting. He said about the stallion, those foals have earned nearly $65 million to date. That is something that should be unique, and that I have owned him at the time. I would have not cloned him, but the fact that Copycat exists and is a carrier of the same DNA. That DNA, in fact, is also a rare quality cloned by Texas A&M researcher Katrin Heinzrich, DVM, PhD, and DNA, is an exact match to that of Highbrow Cat. The cloning involved a new, it's called mitochondrial DNA procedure, which utilized an egg from Highbrow Cat's maternal line to produce an exact replica of the original DNA. My hope is that Copycat will have a long and productive life, said Blanton. We will be putting him into training soon because every horse needs a job. He may become the horse we rope off on our ranch or use as a practice horse in cutting, doing what he can to develop his mind and keep him healthy. Blanton says that he will be exploring the rules, regulations regarding the registries outside the U.S. and will work to develop relationships in the countries to provide Copycat's DNA through frozen semen and other emerging technologies. The breeding business is an exciting and continual evolving aspect of owning horses, said Blanton. It's intriguing to be so closely involved in that aspect and to have a horse like Copycat to perhaps be one to break new ground.
Wow. Yeah. So like if you have an animal and you love that animal, you just clone it. I've heard that there's been people, stars that have cloned their animals before. I mean, I've thought about this, would I want to clone Putin? I don't know. He loves me so much. I love him so much. Would I want to clone him? So it's something.
When I was living in Austin, Brenda, you could get your dog or cat done for like $10,000.
I was going to say 10,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, if I'd have known that, I'd have taken them Truman, because that dog was my love. I had a tiny Shih Tzu. He was brindle, and he had a white stripe over his head. And I got him on President's Day, so I named him Harry Truman because he was a hairy beast when I got him. But I kept him shaved down, getting a puppy cut, and he was just loved everybody, loved every animal, loved children, never raised with children, loved children. He was just always had a smile on his face. He was just the happiest dog ever. And somebody had put something with poison on it in my yard. Yeah. And when I let him out, we never let our dogs go out if we're not with them. But he had ran over the fence and got a hold of something and had gotten sick, and he died. Then he was only 5 years old, and I was just, it took me 2.5 years before I'd even look at another dog. I was heartbroken. But yeah, now I've got Putin, and he just fills every shoe in my house if he's not carrying them away trying to eat them. So, but we're going to go ahead and say goodnight. Susie will be on the Awake Nation next Friday. What time, Susie? What time?
Come on at 10:30 to 11.
Okay. And
Central time, whatever.
Yeah. And then Andy does the Misfit show this weekend. And then what else? Oh, Friday.
Back here.
Back here. All right, back here. So, and what about you, Robin? Are you going to make any special guest appearance on Jessica's show?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Thank you so much for having me on tonight. It was such a pleasure to meet you, Susie.
You too.
We appreciate you coming on. It was a joy. I really love you, girl. You just something else.
I think I've known you before somewhere.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing the other day when we were talking. God, I know her from somewhere.
But we've never met. We've never met in person.
DNA.
I kind of was thinking the same thing with Andy. It's like you look so familiar to me.
Andy, I think, is a one of a kind.
You know, every time I watch these podcasts with people, and it's like, I think I know these people from somewhere.
Well, I grew up in California, and I left out of there finally, I think in my 20s for good. So, but I did grow up out there. So you never know. I might have known somebody you knew and ran into you someday when we were younger at a party or something. I don't know.
I know.
Well, look at, we are our ancestors. Our DNA holds all our memory. So we're all connected to, there's like, I don't think there's any degree of separation.
Right.
I don't know. Have you ever met a person that your personalities just clashed from the get-go and nothing has to happen? I had a doctor like that. I had to get rid of him because I swear to God, he was trying to kill me. But
no, anyways, the same thing with Susie was saying. I was thinking a little broader, Brenda. I was thinking like a 40,000 foot view, like astro projection. Know you?
Yeah, you know, you could. I mean, who knows? When I was younger, how many times I went swimming in that pool?
Who knows? Who knows?
I know when I was in my coma and I died like 9 times in 24 hours. I know one of the last things I heard was a very deep and distinctive voice tell me, "It is not my turn. It is not my time. You go back now."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I woke up in the hospital.
I just finished watching Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty and Julie Christie yesterday. Heaven Can Wait. It's like 1984 or something.
It's a good show. I've seen it.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
And I'm just going to order another movie with Christopher Reeve somewhere in time.
Oh, speaking of movies, there's one coming out called Civil War, and it's about the state of Texas succeeding from the government. Yeah.
Yes.
And I've been seeing a lot of videos on that lately. If Texas succeeds, we will be the 48th biggest country in the nation and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, we got this. We're good.
Well, you start it, Brenda, and then we'll see who else wants to break away.
I know, right? I have a feeling there will be many.
Yeah.
So far, 20. From what I've heard, 26 states are siding with Texas right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent Brenda a map yesterday.
27 against what? 23 or whatever.
Yeah. And we're all allowed to carry. All right, guys, we're going to round it up. And everybody out there watching, thank you for watching. And we will see you next weekend. Y'all have a good night. Y'all stick around for me. And we will see you later.
Good night.
Good night.